All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here, and today I'm going to show you a side-by-side comparison of a marine watch or a mariner's watch and a field watch, or what would kind of be considered a field watch, maybe even a pilot-style watch, but just kind of a side-by-side comparison of these two watches in case you guys are ever thinking about adding one of these style watches to your collection. So the watch here on the right-hand side is the Laco Cuxhaven, which is a deck watch, what would be considered a deck watch. This has the bright white face. They do make the Bremerhaven, which is a black dialed version of the watch, but both named after German towns. The Laco is a German-made watch. Now, on the left-hand side here, I have the Hamilton. This is commonly known as the Murph watch. I just picked this up and did a video on the watch. Both these watches I've done videos on, so I'll leave links to those videos down below. But obviously, a whole lot of the same thing going on with these two watches. One of the biggest things with a field watch is legibility. One of the biggest things with a deck watch is the same thing as legibility in a lot of different situations. Obviously, with this deck watch, this mariner style watch, it's gonna be very easy to read, very bright. You've got that railroad track, seconds hand there around the outside, or actually minute hand, I guess you'd call it, because it has the small seconds on this watch. This is what I do believe is a polished lacquer dial in this watch, so it has a lot of shine to it. You get these big Arabic numerals all the way around, nice clean hands, baton style hands with syringe tips. And like I said, that easy to read second hand down there. Very similarly with the field watch from Hamilton, you get the large Arabic numerals all the way around. Instead of the railroad track seconds hand, you do have a 60-minute track there around the outside of the watch. Very easy to read cathedral style hands on the watch, so it's going to be very easy and legible to read, which, like I said, both of these watches need to have that. And so a lot of similarities, in these two watches. Another thing's going to be the size. The Laco comes in at a 42.5 from side to side, not including the crown. The Hamilton comes in at 42 millimeters from side to side, so very similar size there. The Laco is a more reasonable 48 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, whereas the Hamilton Murph, this one is especially long at 52.5, almost 53 millimeters. Both have 22 millimeter lug openings, and amazingly, both come in at a very clean and wearable 10.8 millimeters to the top of the sapphire crystals on these watch. Now, the Laco is running a flat sapphire crystal on the watch with AR coating. And with the white dial, it's really, really good at hiding those reflections. You don't hardly see them at all, to be honest with you. Now, the Hamilton. This is a sapphire crystal, but I don't see, any AR coating. Now, there may be AR coating on the underside of the crystal, which is great, but because of that black dial, because you have a domed sapphire crystal on the watch, it really, really makes a lot of reflections. But so inside of these watches, they're running completely different movements. Now, the Laco is supposed to be, I want to say, kind of designed after the original U1 wristwatches worn on the submarines way back in the day, also pocket watch style. This is running basically, it's a Laco, I think they call it like the L98 or something, but I think it's basically a new version of the Unitas 6498 movement. Maybe so, I might be wrong there. You guys can correct me down below. I'll flip these over and show you the movements here in a second. On the Hamilton, you're running a new, very modern movement. This is a new movement, but it's a very tried and true older style movement. In the Hamilton here, you have one of Swatch Group's newest movements here. It's a 25 joule, 80-hour power reserve, laser regulated movement here that they've just recently come out with in the last, I think, 5 to 6 years, and they're using it in a number of the Swatch Group watches. So very new, modern technology here in the Hamilton, whereas with the Laco, you have tried and true technology. The Hamilton movement here is beating at 21,600 vibrations per hour, where the Laco is about 18.8, I think, something like that, under 20,000 vibrations per hour. So very older style movement. So let's go ahead. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and undo the buckle here. Now I've got the Laco on an aftermarket. This is on a Luff strap, one of their elastic straps, one of their elastic 2, I think. And the movement in the Laco, guys, I got to tell you, it's absolutely amazing. I love the way it fills the case on the watch. It just completely fills it up. This is also sapphire glass on the back of both these watches. So you can see the difference. Now, the one on the right-hand side, the Laco, this is a manual wind watch. And so you are going to need to wind this watch. I think at full wind, it has about 48 hours power reserve. Of course, the Hamilton on the left-hand side is the H10 movement, 80 hours of power reserve. And it's interesting, if you look at the balance wheels they're spinning around, you can see the difference in the speed on those balance wheels up there. And on the Hamilton, let's get the movement out of the way, or the rotor out of the way. You can see the difference in the speed. 21.6 versus 18, I think it's 18.8 on the Laco there, but really good looking watches. I just kind of wanted to compare the two. It's always been interesting to me how many different styles and versions of watches, that we have out there, but really how many of them are basically trying to perform the same feat, just for a different, the field watch, supposed to be a tough field style watch. The Laco is supposed to be a deck watch. One of the other things I didn't mention is legibility at night. And both of these watches are fully loomed. As a matter of fact, we'll go out with a loom shot at the end after I get these on my 7-inch wrist just to show you the difference. Like I said, down below in the description, I am going to leave a link to videos of both these watches, reviews of both these watches, so you can check that out. But let's go ahead and throw these on the wrist and see how they look. All right, so if you just recently watched my review of the Murph, this watch, I love the way it wears. I do think it's a pretty big watch, 42 from the side to side, but especially at that almost 53 lug tip to lug tip. But I'll tell you what, this watch does what it's supposed to do as far as a field watch goes. As a matter of fact, I wore it for a whole week at work, bashing through some brush and stuff. I got a little nick up there in this polished bezel. But the watch really performs well, easy to read, super comfortable to wear all day long with 100 meters water resistance, which both of these watches, by the way, have 100 meters water resistance, non-screw down crowns. But with 100 meters of water resistance, you don't really need to worry about this watch either as far as adventuring. You got to jump into the water, whatever you got to do, it's going to be able to take that. So really good looking watch here from Hamilton, the Murph. Let's go ahead and throw the Laco Cuxhaven on my wrist. Oh man, guys, I got to tell you, this is probably one of my favorite watches I own in the collection. Absolutely love this watch. And it's funny, ever since I got the blue luff strap with the white stripe down the middle, it went on this watch. It hasn't come off because the thermally blued hands on this watch. That's one of the things that it does go a bit above and beyond with the, from the Murph from Hamilton. This has a lot of really fine detail work done to it, but there is a price difference. The Murphs come in, you can get these under $800. These Lacos, I got a great deal on this watch, but regular price, they're $1,200. So big price difference, but really, really nice looking watch. I think the big difference for me too is that lug tip to lug tip coming in at 48 millimeters. It doesn't go overboard at all on the lug to lug. So it looks really good, wears really good. It's just one of those watches you got to remember to wind your watch. I pretty much get up when I'm wearing this daily, just get up in the morning, you're having your coffee, you wind your watch. So let's go ahead and dim the lights and see what kind of loom we have on these two watches. Like I said, it's kind of part of what both these watches are supposed to have, is good visibility in darkness. So let's check out how they look. All right, so if you guys have seen the videos on these watches, I don't think you'll be surprised at all. Though it's funny, the Laco actually blew me away when I saw the loom on it when I got the watch at first. I couldn't believe how much loom the watch had on it. So there you go, the Laco Cuxhaven there on your right-hand side and the Hamilton Murph on the left. Both watches glowing like they should. You want to have legibility in near total darkness with a field watch or a deck watch. And both these watches perform their task very well. Thought it would just be a fun comparison video to show a deck watch and a field watch side by side and see what you guys think. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.